Welcome to Papillion UnScripted. I am Michael Severe, the place to go to hear from people who truly help make Papillion feel like home. With a special guest this week from a powerlifter and bodybuilder, Becca Swanson, joining us here. How are you doing?
I'm great. Nice to meet you. Thanks for having me.
World's Strongest Woman, that's the title.
That's right.
Squats, deadlifts, benches, records and all of those.
Yes. So I did competitive powerlifting for over 12 years, maybe.
Wow. Yeah.
Yes, I owned a gym during that time period. It was just a completely different life. It was a long time ago, it seems, you know.
Yeah. And when you combine all three of those, a 2,000 number is pretty good, right?
Yeah, when you add in one day, squat, bench, deadlift, and that's your total for the day. There, you can also get a record in that. So you can possibly have 4 different types of records in powerlifting.
Wow. Okay.
Right.
I've seen that they call it the CrossFit total, and you were the first woman to ever get over 2,000 pounds?
Well, it's not the CrossFit, sorry. It's just powerlifting.
Just
squat,
powerlifting,
bench, deadlift, total. Yeah, so I was the first to get over 2,000. So I was the first to get over, I think, 1,700.
Oh, wow.
1,800, 1,900, and 2,000.
Yeah. So you're originally from Papillion?
Yes, born and raised,
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I went to Papillion High School, Papillion the Vista. This one did not exist. The
Yeah,
South one wasn't there.
Yeah.
Spent my whole life here. My parents still live in the same house I grew up in. Yeah. And then I've been around. I've been to England, and I lived in California, and spent some time in Missouri. But this is home. Yeah.
Tell me what it was like growing up in Papillion.
It was great. So looking back on time, I feel like I was in whatever kind of sport I wanted to do. Peaceful childhood, riding bikes. Anywhere I wanted to go. Great neighbors, childhood friends still to this day, high school friends still to this day. Yeah, so it's a great place to raise your children, which is why I'm here, because I have 2, 5 and 9.
A little strange when you look back on what it was, what it looked like, the amount of people that were here, and now?
And now, well, when I grew up, 72nd Street was a dirt road, right?
Yeah, my wife too, she always talks about that, yeah.
Yes, and seeing as I don't live too far from Target, when I grew up, there were cornfields behind my house when I was younger, right? So yeah, like how we grow and how we change, and then there's all sorts of accommodations for apartment complexes going up, so we're still expanding. But I like it because there's everything here, there's your big box, hardware stores, and there's plenty of restaurants. So this is, I don't go into Omaha too much.
You don't have to now. Yeah. So tell me about athletic career when you were young. What did you play? What kind of sports?
Yeah, sure. So this is something I think about all the time since I have 2 kids. I didn't start volleyball until I was in the 8th grade. And maybe at the time I remember thinking, oh, these girls have skills. Some of these girls, like, when did they get into sports? And so 8th grade, I played volleyball. I did a little bit of high jump. I wasn't a fast person. I was just a larger person always. But volleyball was great. Gwen Egbert was my coach, and she was, of course, fantastic. Volleyball coach. My teammate was Allison Weston. So
that's pretty good.
Just, top of the crop right there.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, so athletically, awesome. And I, as a parent, though, with my 5 and 9-year-old, it is so competitive here that I feel a little bit of pressure trying to, get my kids into sport at the youngest age possible, so they can develop their skills along the way. But, then there's also like, am I getting them into the right sport? Because for powerlifting, for me, it was something that I came upon, when I was 21. I saw a deadlift in a magazine, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is amazing. So I was able to bring myself to the sport, and with the help of many people, develop into the strongest woman, female powerlifter. So being an athlete, what's in store for my kids? And
you referenced getting them into sport, but also getting them into coaches, camps. Different, whatever the AAU system that they go through, all of that's important.
Right. And will I have to do the extra mile, like, teach my kid how to jump higher, things like that. I don't know.
Train them.
Yeah, exactly. And then as the parent, it's just, it's you go to games and you try to,
Yeah, please, yes, that's good. Yeah.
But I'm so passionate about athletics, so.
Right.
Yes, Trenton Albers knows.
I'm gonna ask you later what kind of coach he is. Toward the end, so you can just walk out after you say whatever
I'm just worried that he's going to kick me out of games. I'm kidding. I'm not that bad, but I'm.
That's not the parent you're talking about, then, Trent. So we just joking. So let's talk about, after that you go to UNL.
Yeah.
Right, and you're trying to figure out what you're going to do.
Right.
Mechanical engineering.
Yes.
Why that major?
So I'm always, just grew up in a family mostly of engineers.
Really?
Yeah. So my dad's engineer, my brother, and one of my sisters, and then I have a sister that's a nurse.
Wow.
Yeah, but she's in analytics now. So just very technical thinkers in my family. It was easier for me. Was never like the best reader and comprehension person, so it was just like a natural path for me to go more math.
Right.
Yeah.
You're at UNL, and that's the time when you look in either bodybuilding or powerlifting, right around then?
Actually, I I had an experience which brought me to this whole powerlifting. So let me tell you about that for a second. That's okay. I got called the second year I was at UNL, and they said, "Hey, we have so many injured players that we need you to come help us on the volleyball team."
Oh wow!
So Gwen gave me the recommendation for that, and that's truly so. Allison's there, and all these great players were there, and I was the shortest person at 5'9". Definitely not. When you think you eat, breathe, and sleep, something volleyball,
sure.
And then you are in front of these ladies who are just so spectacular. You realize, your level of, athleticism in that area. So I kind of found failure a little bit, yeah. And so I just was there for like a year to help out and things like that. Just kind of be an extra person on the other side of, those aces and
the elites.
Yeah, the elites. Yeah. So great experience, but also just like a sense of like, oh, it wasn't good enough for that. So that's kind of where I went out seeking something that I was good at. And I did work for Union Pacific as an intern during my stint at UNL. And I went down to Missouri for 3 months, and I didn't know anybody. And so I was like, I'm just going to join the gym, because I saw this Flex magazine. It had this deadlift, and it was amazing,
right.
So I went there, and I started lifting, and people started to help me. And then when I came back to UNL, I was living, it was like a break time, maybe some winter break or something like that. And I was looking in the phone book for a hardcore gym so I could be around people who are doing this deadlift. And that's the day I met my coach, who coached me for 12 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So this bit of failure and just feeling like this empty feeling of what's out there for me,
right?
So I'm feeling very blessed that I was able to find something, replace that, with something that I was very good at.
I was reading a story about how you were bodybuilding, but at that time they didn't want women who were as bulky.
Right.
So that's kind of why you got out of that.
Yeah, absolutely. So so there's the 3 different sports I dipped my toe into. Of course, powerlifting, right? And then bodybuilding, which I just did for a short stint after some powerlifting. And then the strong woman competition,
right.
where it's kind of like a junkyard games where you're flipping
throwing the
tires.
barrels.
Great sport. Yeah. But that's the place where they were like outright saying, you're just too big for this sport. We don't want you on, representing this sport, sort of. So
as a woman, they were like looking for a slenderer woman, or not? Just...
Yeah. As a woman, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because
you were too strong.
Yeah, I was just too, and this is just my physique. I'm
okay.
I just naturally walk around I'm a large person. So
yeah.
And then building.
You figure that's what they would want.
Yeah, it's okay.
Because you see with the men with that, you figure they want the same thing.
Right. Right. But wait, and then but that kind of put me in my place. I was really good at powerlifting, so it just kind of forced me to kind of stay in my lane.
Yeah.
That's fine too.
What would you say the years were your prime when you were lifting the most, when you felt like you were your strongest?
Gosh.
Like not your year, but like the year, not how old you were, but what years were those?
Yeah, so it was around 2005.
Okay.
Yeah, 2006, maybe into 2008. I had some, injuries, near the end where, I had bicep injuries, but, healed up and went back stronger. So got through those. Yeah.
What was that feeling like? Because you mentioned you're practicing with these elite players in volleyball. Yeah, you then became elite in what you were doing. What was that feeling like?
It was really nice because I actually was training with a bunch of men, which were amazing and very supportive, and that made me even just better because I was training with people who were stronger than me. Because there was no women really at my level, so I was in with the guys. Even when I would go to powerlifting meets, they'd put me in with the guys. Otherwise, they'd be unloading weights and loading them back up. It's just a lot.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Anyway, so I felt I'm blessed. It was just an amazing situation to be in. Yeah, but a long time ago, right?
Yeah. No, I'm 53, so when I was 7, 8 years old, Harley Race was the world champion. Came down to Mid-South Wrestling down in Louisiana. We saw him wrestle.
Yeah.
Then you ended up joining Holly Ray's Professional Wrestling. Can you talk about how you got into that?
Right. So I was just kind of winding things down in Omaha, you know, and I wasn't really making money owning a gym. I owned a gym for quite some time. Other things going on socially, you know, and I thought, you know, this just really, I just really need to go and just evolve. That started to be my word to myself. It's just I need to evolve.
Yeah.
And so I went down and started wrestling, you know, and I was older.
Where was that located?
Yeah, it was in Eldon, Missouri.
Missouri, right.
Right,
Okay, yeah.
right outside of, gosh, I'm trying to think of the Lake of the Ozarks, Lake of the Ozarks down there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know there's plenty of places to be outside of the Lake of the Ozarks, but I think it's Elgin or Eldon, Missouri. Right. Yeah, it was just a small town, you know. It was good. You know, I was okay at it. It was fun. It was just kind of a transition phase for me.
How hard was it to learn to take the bumps and hit the ropes right and all that stuff?
Really?
Really?
It's fine.
Yeah.
I was
You
ready.
like taking bumps?
Yeah. Yeah. I did learn something though, and this is, you know, God bless all the wrestlers out there that take the beatings and do this kind of thing. But I did learn that the camaraderie I found in powerlifting was far elite, more than any camaraderie I've ever felt in any community. You know, and then I went into wrestling, and they think they have camaraderie, but really it's a little bit cutthroat, right?
Yeah,
you
sure.
know, you know, it's really a performance, you know, based sport. So anyway, I just felt a lot of gratitude for the years that I had spent with these teammates who are always there to protect you. You know,
Right. Yeah. So you ended up in California at one point. You mentioned that. What were you doing there?
You know what? I did some
MMA, right?
I did some MMA. Yeah, I did some. I did kind of to stay fit, right?
Right.
I didn't do much in the MMA. The organization that I was practicing with kind of just dwindled. Let's see. Gosh, I went to California, just like trying to evolve, right? Change my life. I was helping a gentleman set up a gym there. Yeah, so I spent a few years there, but you know, in this meantime, I had. You know, being the strongest woman in the world, you have a little bit of a fan base, you know?
Sure.
And I was, you know, try to be respectful and kind of respond to people who are instant messaging over Yahoo or Facebook or whatnot.
Back then, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And then, so I was, you know, you have some people that you just kind of build a friendship with, and then one of those people is my husband now today.
Oh, awesome.
So yes, I was there in California, kind of helping a gentleman open a gym. It really didn't get off the ground that much, and so I thought, you know what, hey, I'm just going to go, you know, meet this guy in person, right? So this was a little bit of a, you know, online dating
kind of a blind date a little bit,
a blind date, you know, where I'm like, hey, I'm gonna go meet this person I feel like I know. It's a very strange situation to be in.
Yeah,
but
sure.
you know what? I was a little older, you know. I was in my late 30s, and I thought, shoot, you know what? Why not take some risks?
Yeah.
You know, what the heck, you know?
Is he a lifter too?
You know, he did some weightlifting, just kind of like on his own, but he was a very good cricketer. You know,
Really?
'cause
Is
he's
he from
Pakistan?
England? Oh, Pakistan. Okay.
Yeah, he was living in England at the time I met him.
Yeah.
And so we met and got married a year later, and then
Wow.
had a couple kids. It's crazy. Like, don't go meeting guys on the internet, I say. Otherwise, you'll
But it
end up
seems
like me with 2 kids, right?
Well, it seems like it works out. Yeah, a lot of people looking for
I'm
it.
just kidding. Yeah.
Yeah. Was it hard to date as a powerful woman?
Yes, I went through a little bit of identity crisis because here I am done with my career of powerlifting, and that was my identity, right? And I'm trying to evolve and move on, but it's hard because you're kind of leaving yourself behind, everything that you know of yourself and that you're used to, right? And so I'm thinking I have to do this because I want to get married one day and have children, and gosh, the time's, you know, ticking, right? But luckily for me, that the person that I ended up with actually really loves me for being muscular, you know, and being that power lifter, you know, and tries to like keep my social media up these days.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah, he does a really good job with
He's
that.
a blessing, yeah.
Yeah, he does a really good job with that. So what are you doing now?
I'm working for a financial company. Yeah, I'm a very, like I said, technical person. So I'm under IT, and I'm working, you know, I'm just trying to make systems better, things like that. Yeah.
Do you dip your toe into helping people train, or?
I do
around
train
there
still. Yeah, I still train people. I'm lucky enough to be training with a local person that lives in La Vista. He owns a martial arts studio on 32nd and 36th and 370.
Oh, okay.
Master Jay Melgrito, Grandmaster. Yeah, and so we train together. We try to get 3 days a week at least, just to try to stay. And it's weird because my training is evolving as well, because I'm an older person and I'm like, things don't work like they used to.
Recovery is different.
Recovery is different, yeah. So I'm trying to work, and it sounds strange, but you see all these little like advertisements on Facebook about, oh, just work out like 15 minutes 3 times a day, but there is actually some new science behind that, and so I'm trying to learn how to manage my hormones as a woman and make it work for me in my workouts. So it's kind of fun, just keep learning.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you mentioned 2 kids. And what sports are they playing?
So my oldest one, he's 9, and he's a pretty tall kid, so we've got him in basketball. He really likes basketball.
Is that the one where Trent coaches?
Yes, Trent is his coach. He's a great coach. Yes.
You can say that now.
Yeah, I know. I'll tell you the truth
later.
later.
Okay.
Yes, but my 9-year-old also has his black belt from Master Melgrito. Yep.
Wow.
Yes, and then my youngest, I keep telling myself I need to get him in gymnastics because he is just cartwheeling and flipping, and he stood on the edge of the couch one day and he was like, "I'm going to do it. I'm going to do a backflip." And I was like, "No, you're not. Stop right there." Yeah. Okay, we'll get you in gymnastics, I promise.
I can recommend a place. Cahoy's is amazing. My kids went through that.
There.
We went through that. Yeah, it was, you get to a point where you have to get, 4 or 5 days a week. And it's a big commitment, but before that, they're really good with the little ones getting them ready.
Are they good?
Yeah, really good.
Yeah. Mom and Dad thinking we'd go a little more local.
I understand. I get it.
Closer to home.
Last question, we always ask people this. Give me something, whether it's an event, an activity, or a location in Papillion. Does your family like to do things that, or go to places, something that you want to highlight, something that you like?
Well, gosh, I'll answer your question, but I do have to say how lucky we are to have like really big yards in Papillion, because we bought a house with a very big yard, so we can be out in front with the neighborhood kids, and so I feel very lucky. But
definitely,
one of our favorite places, does have to be in Papillion.
No, Sarpy County.
Fontanelle Forest. Is a great place to go. My dad's a big birder, and so he helps out with the website and things like that. It's an amazing place to go.
Yeah, our kids are in OPS, and they always take them on field trips there.
Yes.
And that's the day when the kids come home and they're just talking about everything.
Yeah.
Because there's so much to do there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's pretty awesome. Well, I'm glad we could finally set this up.
Nice to meet you, Michael.
Thank you very much. It was nice meeting you as well. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Join us again next time when we again hear from someone who helps Papillion feel like home.